Hello all and welcome to the Terminus Directive. Today we'll be continuing our Terminus Index series of breakdowns with a series that most people will be surprised to see in a sci-fi setting. Call of Duty's Black Ops Cold War is coming up soon. Now, this is a sci-fi channel, and Cold War doesn't quite fit into that, but I still wanted to do something for the release, so instead we'll be taking a look at Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's Olympus Mons supercarrier. Infinite Warfare is seen as a controversial game by many COD fans, and I do agree that the multiplayer and zombies modes could have used some work. That said, the game also has my favorite campaign of the series, despite a few kind of silly plot devices here and there. In 2180, the United Nations Space Alliance, or UNSA, hosted a Fleet Week, a naval parade that brought the majority of the Earth Navy to a single spot in the city of Geneva. This show of bravado collapses when the Settlement Defense Front, or SDF, of Mars launches a devastating sneak attack, resulting in a number of ships being destroyed. As the UNSA pushes the attackers back into space, the Martian Navy unleashes the Olympus Mons, a supercarrier that is easily the strongest ship in the solar system. Helmed by the ruthless Admiral Seylan Koch, the Mons manages to use its superior weapons and armor to annihilate its foes. The ship attacks a battle group of 11 UN craft and manages to destroy 9 of them. Were it not for the ramming action of the UNSA Retribution, the Mons would have finished off Earth's Navy then and there. Instead, the ship was forced to retreat, falling into a cat-and-mouse battle with the surviving Retribution and Tigris carriers. Towards the end of the game's story, the Mons is disabled by an FTL rupture, some sort of faster-than-light travel EMP-style effect, which allows UNSA forces, led by Commander Nick Reyes, to board it and capture the craft, killing Admiral Koch in the process. After hacking the ship's bot crew, Captain Reyes and his troops take the Olympus Mons to Mars, using the SDF's own ship to deal massive damage to the Martian fleet. While the ship is ultimately crashed into the Martian surface, the SDF orbital shipyards were also destroyed, essentially leading to a Cold War where Earth and Mars no longer possess enough naval resources to attack the other. This impressive service record demonstrates the potency of the Olympus Mons. The mere presence of this ship alone is enough to completely change the tide of a battle. It does this through a pretty remarkable armament. Unfortunately, the Call of Duty franchise doesn't give a whole lot of detail surrounding the ship, so we're forced to rely on the wiki page for the best assessment. Coming in at about 927 meters, or about 0.6 of a mile, the Mons is the largest ship ever produced for military combat. It carries 30 Skelter fighters and 6 Warden-class gunships, giving it an arsenal of fighters that is somewhat larger than even the largest UNSA carriers. These allow it to overwhelm enemy craft with sheer numbers and its own powerful arsenal at once. The ship boasts 50 ballistic cannons. This number actually seems a bit low considering how the ship seems to fire in-game, but I suppose it's a reasonably accurate guess. The Mons also has 24 shipboard missile pods for anti-fighter support, and presumably there are point defense machine guns or missiles as well. Most notable, however, is the ship's FSPAR weapon. The Focus Spectral Array, or FSPAR, is the largest energy weapon ever produced, and is capable of eliminating enemy cruisers in a single shot. This weapon alone makes the Mons a formidable opponent. Unlike super lasers in some other franchises, such as Halo or Star Wars, the FSPAR weapon is also a turreted design, allowing the weapon to align and hit targets without having to reorient the ship. While the weapon's firing arc seems to be limited to forward-facing combat, the beam is still very deadly. The ship also features 2 main engines and 8 VTOL thruster systems, giving it a maximum speed of 250,000 kilometers or 155,000 miles per hour. Comparing propulsions across science fiction is difficult because of the inconsistencies between series, so let's just suffice it to say that this is very fast. So, how does the Olympus Mons rank? The ship was somewhat small compared to warships from other sci-fi. The ships in the Infinite Warfare universe also seem to be destroyed very quickly. It isn't really clear whether this is due to weak armor or incredibly strong weapons. It is clear, however, that in its own universe, attacking the Mons in a conventional fashion is a spectacular way to get yourself killed. This ship single-handedly took on 11 enemies of fair size, plus their fighter complements, and was only forced away by a ramming attack. It was only captured by a, frankly, somewhat strange disabling maneuver and an immediate boarding action while it was down. And then it was destroyed only by a combination of extreme incoming fire, boarding actions, and internal fighting with Martian crewmates still aboard. Not to mention, the vessel's new crew had no experience with this class of ship and were relying on stolen bots to operate the vessel. The ship was also not destroyed outright, and the hull seemed to be mostly intact right up until it crashed on Mars. The ship also appears to have the only capital ship-grade F-SPAR weapon in the system, meaning that its key advantage is not likely to be utilized by any enemy ships. It shouldn't be too surprising, then, that the Olympus Mons receives a rating of 95%. This ship is an absolute juggernaut that launched 2 offensives for 2 different sides, easily crippling the military might of both the UN and the SDF. While in some series, the villain's attempts to build a significantly more powerful warship are seen as a waste of resources, there's no doubt in my mind that the Mons was not one of them. The only reason it isn't claiming the first 100% rating of this series is that the F-SPAR turret seems to be stuck facing forwards. The firing arc is excellent compared to many ships with similar super lasers, but is still somewhat lacking. Overall, though, a really fantastic ship. It dominates every scene it's in and is well presented as a ship that forces opponents to flee rather than fight. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and sharing the video. Subscribe for a wide array of sci-fi content. I have a couple other Call of Duty videos in mind based on the sci-fi games, so please let me know if you'd like to see those. Otherwise, let me know what ship I should break down next, and thank you for watching.